Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video, and welcome to episode 107 of Ask Bossk Bounty. This is the weekly series where you guys ask me questions in the comment section below, and each week I do my very best to answer them for you. So if you do have a question for next week's episode, please leave it in the comment section below and hopefully you'll be featured next week. Nothing else really to go through this week, so let's just get straight on to the questions. David Stevens says, hi there Tim, with so many Star Wars TV series being released, The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Andor, Kenobi, Lando, etc., do you think that the forthcoming waves of the vintage collection will be monopolised by these shows? Does that take away too many slots from the original trilogy or prequel or sequel characters we would like to see, especially those you covered in your Finish the 96 series? So unfortunately, yeah, I think it kind of does. Essentially, they've only got a certain amount of slots each year, and when there's lots of new media, then they kind of do centre on that. Much more so in the Black series, but in the vintage collection, I would expect 2, maybe 3 figures from each of the new shows. That's my hope anyway, certainly from the Book of Boba Fett, because I think a lot of those characters could be fairly similar to ones that we've seen maybe in The Mandalorian, especially when it comes to Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, for example. But if you look at this year, 2021, we did get a lot of, as you say, the Finish the 96 figures. Now, the ones that they did in the 50th anniversary and the Walmart exclusive ones, that's kind of different, because most of those were like kind of repaints or like slight improvements on existing figures. When this one, Lando, that was a completely newly tooled figure in the main line. And then, of course, you've got Lobot, which I think they like leverage his legs for that figure from Lando. They share the same legs. So I think these figures maybe might suffer in a year where there is plenty of new media. But I think with the Walmart exclusives and things like that, there could be more opportunities for them to get out those figures from the original trilogy. But yeah, absolutely, when there is new media or a year that's got lots of new media with new films and things like it tends to be the fact that most of the focus is put on those. Scabcat242 says, question for next week, do you think Hasbro will make any more figures based on Rogue One for the vintage collection? In the short answer is yes, they will. Whether it will be anytime soon is another matter. We did get a few over the last year or so with Chirrut Îmwe and Darth Vader, a couple of others that, you know, escaping me right now. But, you know, I've put this guy here because I did pick this up very recently. I did a pickups video just yesterday, actually. And, you know, things like Moroff there, you know, I don't think we're ever going to get those in the vintage collection. But then there is others like, you know, for example, Baze Malbus, which are sort of dead certs. You're going to get those eventually in the vintage collection, especially as you've got Chirrut Îmwe. But the problem is, as mentioned in the last answer, is that with a year of new media, I think Rogue One characters, that's the kind of thing that will probably suffer. I think you might see 1 or 2 original trilogy characters and then the rest from the new media, but when it comes to like things like Rogue One and Solo and, you know, God forbid the sequel trilogy, I think those are the things that are going to suffer until there's a year where there's less new media, and then they can slot those in. A couple of questions about fan vote figures here. Rob Chewbacca says, question, do you think Hasbro should do more fan votes for figures throughout the year? I think they do 1 a year right now. Matthew Martin says, with the Hasbro exclusive fan vote figures, should they throw more out each year and get more less likely figures re-released? So yeah, the vote from the Vault one is a little bit different, I think. You know, that's a bit of fun, I guess, getting the fans involved. When you look at Dr. Aphra, that's completely different because that's like an all-new figure that they're going to produce in the line. And I do kind of wish that they would engage the fans a little bit more. I think the problem that you've got is that everybody wants different stuff, and you'd probably get a lot of votes for like Rebels characters and things like that, which I don't think they're prepared to do right now, because if you get one, you're going to want them all, and there's no way, you know, that Hasbro are going to give you all of the Rebels characters in 1 year. It's just not going to happen. They haven't got enough new slots for those newly tooled figures. So it does cause a bit of a problem for them, but I would like to see, you know, Hasbro just engage the fan community a little bit more and find out what they truly want. Steve Martin says, hi BB, what do you think VC 218 to 222 will be? Cheers. Book of Boba Fett maybe. Keep up the good work, mate. So yeah, there is a slight gap, isn't there, between the Clone Wars wave and then the wave with Bo-Katan and things like that. And you're right, I think the numbers do go from 218 to 222. Now, my feeling is that we are due another wave of like 50th anniversary figures, even though this year is coming to an end. I think even Yakface has on his website maybe some code names which are still unannounced for this year, and those could mar up with these numbers. And if you look at the Bring Home the Bounty campaign on the StarWars.com website, you will see that this Tuesday, the logo for it is 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm. So who knows, we could even see them as soon as Tuesday. I really do hope so. But yeah, those numbers are there to be filled, and I think there is still some figures to be revealed this year. Brett McLeod says, hello there, Tim. Question for next week. Have the remaining figures for the upcoming Ahsoka and Death Watch Vintage Collection wave been confirmed by anyone yet? If not, is the general consensus that it will include Yoda and the 501st Clone Trooper and Figuring Dan? Thanks and keep up the good work. Again, I use Yakface's website, and I think Figuring Dan is probably going to be in the wave after that one. But you are absolutely right. The Yoda and the 501st Clone Trooper figures that were pipelined look like they're going to be in the same wave as Ahsoka and the Death Watch Mandalorian figure. There is also another figure in that wave which is yet to be announced, which I hope will be announced anytime soon. I'll let you speculate on who that could be. But at the same time, that only does make 5 figures for that wave. We are missing another one, so possibly there could be another one added to the list. We just don't know any information on who that could be just yet. 1980s and Star Wars guy says, if you could pick one cancelled Star Wars figure line to return, what line would you pick? Well, I wouldn't pick it to return as in such of like replacing the vintage collection or anything, because I think the vintage collection packaging is the way to go. But if I was to pick a line that I miss, it would be the legacy collection. You know, figures like these 3 guys here all came in the legacy collection. And also you got the droid, builder droid parts and everything, which is a great little bonus. But, you know, so it's not so much the line that I want to come back, but it's the sort of character range that came within that line. And I think the legacy collection was one of the best. And maybe even the 30th anniversary as well, for sort of character depth and weird aliens and weird characters. I mean, these 3 here, fantastic figures, all from the legacy collection. Wayne McCrory says, love your content. Got a question. Having grew up in the time of the Palatoy and Kenner takes on the Death Star, I always wanted an updated version and was hopeful to see 2 mini playsets in the Power of the Force 2 line. Do you think a new vintage collection release would only be made available through HasLab, or do you think that we may eventually get a modular Death Star through small playsets and the increasingly popular dioramas? Yeah, I personally would love a Death Star hallway in the style of the Tantive 4 playset. I think you could make loads of different dioramas out of that. That sort of background is used across Star Wars in many different films and TV programs and things like that. You could probably use it in The Mandalorian as well, for example. So yeah, Death Star hallway maybe would be pretty good. But I think, yeah, a HasLab project for a full-on Death Star, you know, a lot of people are saying that that's something that they would quite like. I would love to see how they would accomplish it though. Would it be a big tall sort of version with multiple levels like the Kenner version? Or would it be something that's a bit more modular that can sort of fit together and take up more space on ground level? It'd be really interesting to see how they would do it, but I don't think there'd be too many complaints if they did go down that route. Powers de Armo says, question for next week. Do you think that given next year is the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones that we will finally be getting a vintage clone commander, since we've gotten the vintage collection clone lieutenant and the Black Series clone sergeant, and also possibly new vintage collection Jedi figures from the arena? Thanks and love the content. I think the Attack of the Clones anniversary is probably coming a bit of a bad time in terms of it being on the same year that so much new media is hit. But I could really see them doing something like this with this figure. Of course, as you say there, we do need the yellow commander. That would be awesome. But, you know, maybe they could do a 4-pack of these guys in that new 4-pack expression that they've used. You could maybe have 1 standard, 1 yellow, 1 blue, and 1 green possibly. That would be pretty awesome. I would love that. I'm sure a lot of people would buy that. And as for new Jedi figures, yeah, I think possibly next year is not the time to do it, as I say, just purely because all the other stuff that they've got to do. Jeremy Carvalho says, hi boss, question for next week. I am someone who loves the Clone Wars, so do you think for the anniversary of the Clone Wars they could release some droid figures like the Tactical Droid or Super Tactical Droid? As always, love you loads and keep the videos coming. Thank you, Jeremy. So the anniversary of the Clone Wars, would that be the Gendy versions? What would that's 2003, so 2023 would be the 20th anniversary, the same year of the anniversary of Return of the Jedi. I don't know, man. I think the saving grace for the Clone Wars is that I'm pretty sure that Hasbro know it's quite popular. I'm pretty sure all the things that they've released for the Clone Wars have been good sellers. I can't say for sure, but you know, they've given us the ARC Trooper 3-pack, which everybody wanted. They've released them single carded. They've given us the Clone Wars, the Gendy Clone Wars figures, which seem to have a good reaction. And of course, we've had the new Maul and Ahsoka, which are just phenomenal figures. And again, they seem to go down pretty well with the community. So all the signals are there that everybody loves the Clone Wars. So yeah, maybe it is possible that we do get something like that in the future. Another question about the anniversary here, and it's Miles Hook says, next year with the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones and the already known repacks coming, how many more slots do you think they will have open for the anniversary year? Which characters would you like to see? Count Dooku a good possibility, and maybe the tarnished silver 3PO. I think for me that the one that I would really want is Count Dooku. But I think with that one they would have to almost give us an all new figure. I guess they could take parts from previous versions, but to me I think that one could do with an all new figure. And as mentioned before, you know, and it's a running theme in this video that next year the Attack of the Clones is the anniversary, but man, there's so many other things they've got to do in that year, and it's going to be very difficult for them to, you know, keep everybody happy. I think the good thing with the vintage collection is that it does try and spread across multiple things to keep everyone kind of happy. You know, you do get a lot of stuff from the original trilogy and the new films and things like that. But as always, as collectors, we just want more of it, don't we? And with the more slots, they can make more people happy. Admiral Akbar Mash says, great videos always, Mr. Bossk. Thank you. For next week, will they ever re-release an AT-AT in the vintage collection? I would have thought they would have this year, with no vehicles really in the horizon. Stay safe, my friend. The problem with the AT-AT is that it's a really big vehicle, isn't it? Just like the Millennium Falcon. And the Smuggler's Run version of the Millennium Falcon, I do believe was originally going to be a Disney Parks exclusive, but you know, with COVID and everything, they put it out to Target. They struck a deal with them. And are we going to see those sorts of size vehicles at retail again? I mean, I'm not going to put it past Hasbro, because at the end of the day, it's a re-release, and it's a re-release of a popular vehicle, the AT-AT. So I think, you know, if it turns up in one of the new shows, if the AT-AT's in one of those new shows, then you can bet your bottom dollar that we will get it. Maybe that needs to be the trigger for it to happen, but I'm all out for one of those as well. I would love for them to redo the AT-AT. Alright then guys, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Ask Boss Bounty. It's been a blast, and we shall see you on next week's episode. I thank you all so much for watching, and of course, as always, thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members. Your support is greatly appreciated. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed the video, to drop a like down below, because that does help the video and the channel. And we shall see you on the next one.